Let's do truth-telling time, guys. So in 2016, I flew down to Boise, Idaho, and I did a presentation at bodybuilding.com called The Fitness Myth. And some of you who follow me, you were there for this. What I talked about in this presentation is the very reason why you are not seeing competitor content on my page anymore. Most women getting into competing have no idea of this aspect. Your sense of belonging has to do with how much you're willing to withstand the demands, how much you're willing to suffer, and how much you're willing to conform to what people say you should do, okay? Like, let's just use macros versus meal plans and the amount of idiotic fighting that went over on the internet over macros versus meal plans, okay? Within the subculture, the actual context of it is how hardcore are you willing to be, and are you willing to withstand the demands? And notice, I didn't even talk about performance enhancing drugs. I'm just talking about mindset in general. And that mindset that you need to adopt, it might not come your first show, but it certainly will come with your second show. And it definitely will come if you're not in that top call out, okay? It becomes powerful. It becomes your religion. It becomes your mantra because it builds grit, it builds tolerance for the discomfort, and it pushes anything and everyone who you believe is getting in your way out. And I know what that feels like. You wake up every day, your feet hit the floor, you're a bad bitch. You can do absolutely anything, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is getting in your way. But after 3 decades of doing this, there's something with that mindset that nobody's really talking about, and it should be spoken, okay? And I'm going way beyond my own client base here. I'm going on years as a competitor. I sat on a judging panel. I have lots of friends who coach in the industry. I know a lot of women that have competed, so this isn't just my client load, all right? Years of these conversations, there's a large percentage of women competing to avoid dealing with hard things in their life. I wasn't an exclusion to that, all right? Competing becomes not about personal self-expression, but avoidance. Maybe you're struggling with your weight, and this gives you a way to avoid the sustainable work and gives you a carrot dangle for a short period of time. Maybe it's a relationship struggle. Maybe you got cheated on. Maybe something bad happened to you and you just need to feel like that bad bitch again. Maybe your mental health has been in the gutter and you're anxious and you're depressed and having a goal just feels really good right now. Maybe your OCD is climbing and tracking your macros and being on a meal plan just allows you to dig right in. Maybe you just don't feel good about yourself in general, and that sparkly suit and that tan and that discipline and shutting everybody out, that's just going to make you feel really, really good for a short period of time until the show ends. And you can have the best reverse diet in the world. Nothing can reverse your mental health. The weight you lost that everybody applauded, now they're asking why the weight came back on. The discipline that you had for 16 weeks, now you're struggling every week just to pull it together and not binge. The relationship struggles that you had, they're all there to face you again. The grief you avoided, it's right in front of you. Your mental health is now totally in the gutter because you're more depressed than you ever were before because you don't know what to do with yourself. And all those people that you blocked out of your life because they weren't on board with how you were behaving or who you were becoming while you were in prep, they're gone because you pushed them away. And that's when the real chaos shows up. That's when the real work begins. The belief that you can just get back to that and revisit that feeling again instead of dealing with the hard things. You did the things to belong. Those things blocked out the things, and now you got to deal with the things. But now you're on a perpetual cycle of chasing the things instead of dealing with the thing. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm not saying this from some like holier than thou place. I did 16 years of the dance and the things. So here's the thing though. As a business owner, as a coach, I've been cast as the enemy more times than I count just for simply being honest about this, about warning women, about not wanting to take some women down this path, and for somewhat being like a little controversial in the fact that for many years, my premise of my business was metabolism coaching women who wanted to fix their metabolisms after the extremes of competing, only to go back to competing again. So that's a big reason you don't see this on my page, is because I'm not down with that. I'm not down with taking you down the path that got you on the path in the first place. I just have to be honest about it, because this is what I've seen since 2001. This is a long time to see women chewed up and spat out within this industry because they didn't get this memo. Nobody told them this memo. Coaches will take your money, people will push you, your sense of belonging will feel very real, and this conversation won't be had. Why? Because it's not sexy and it doesn't sell. That's why, okay? So my work has shifted, and I think that's very clear, right? It's very, very clear. I'm no longer aligning with the idea of fixing metabolisms from competing to help women compete again. I'm here for building forever home bodies, bodies that function into old age, because I'm getting old too, you know? We're in a different time in our life. A forever home body, not a temporary, unsustainable peak that leaves people in the valley, women in the valley. And I mean this, like, it sounds dramatic, but when you're in it, oh man, that valley is the valley of death, all right? Because you feel like shit, you think you look like shit, you've acted like a piece of shit, and now you got to deal with your shit. It's not very fun.